So one of the ways it plays out is the fight or flight response. So we have this cute little lamb, he's walking along, and he's having a lovely little day, when out of nowhere appears a giant lion. And it is a very fierce lion. So the lamb sees this, gets gas, explodes away. Now if the lamb is lucky enough to actually get to safety, this is what happens. If you ever see documentary photos of a prey creature that's escaped, what it'll do is it'll actually get to a free space and it'll go like this. And it literally shakes off the fear and anxiety. And it starts thinking cute little lamey thoughts again, which apparently are monarch butterflies. But it leaves. It completely leaves that space where it's in danger. This is where you and I are different from those animals. This is us. We're going along, and out of nowhere, we are surprised by and not only is it math test, hold on a second here. Oh, I broke my little clicker. There we go. It is a ferocious math test. So this is what happens to you. Run away, escape, supercharge. But when you leave that space, what you now do is you start thinking about the math test. You start thinking about the math test. You start thinking about the math test. And what your body does is it responds as if that danger is right there in front of you. And you keep living in that space where that danger is taxing you even though you're not in the middle of it. You know, the night before a big test or a presentation you have to give at school, it's really hard for you to sleep because you're really nervous. Your body, in a very primitive sense, is acting as if you're being attacked right now, and that's why it's responding in that way. So this becomes a problem for us when that information that's coming forward, the information that is telling us about danger that exists in the world, isn't accurate information. The lies that exist inside of the puppy brain. You're not good enough. If there is this space that exists that tells you you are not good enough, you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're going to try because you're already seeing danger before you get there. You're not smart enough. It's too late. You've made so many mistakes. It's okay for other people, but it's too late for you. You failed before, you're going to fail again. These are lies. But because of where they're coming from, and because of the way they present themselves, they impact the way that we make choices. They impact the way that we live. They impact the way that we see ourselves. And so what I want to do is I just want to give you kind of a brief illustration. I mentioned at the beginning I'm dyslexic. Can I get you there? Come on, Matt, real quick. Now, you can relax. You're actually going to help me into this, okay? Now, what I want to do is I just want to give you a little bit of a brief illustration, kind of what it has been like for me to live with the dyslexia and learning disabilities that I have. Now, what I have here in my hand is obviously a straitjacket. This isn't a toy, this isn't a prop, and didn't buy this from some magic company. This jacket was actually made by a company called Human Restraint, which is a medical device company based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This jacket cost $267. Now, straitjackets are engineered. They're designed in a very specific way, so that every single part of the jacket will ensure the person on the inside can't get out. That makes sense, but it's actually designed every part of it like that. Now, the first way this happens is the fabric that it's made of. This jacket is fabric as canvas. Canvas is a very durable, thick, tough fabric. It's thicker, tougher, and stronger than the denim or blue jeans are made of. So there's nothing I can do to stretch it. I'm actually wearing an undershirt here. The undershirt that I put on this morning, like the t-shirt you're wearing, the hole that my head went through is smaller than my head. But the way that the undershirt gets on my body is it's super stretchy, so it moves really, really easy. Since this is so thick and so tough, it doesn't stretch. So there's nothing I'm going to do to help me work my way out. So both your right hand, you grab that strap right there on the top. Perfect. Make sure you grab the top buckle for me. Hold on a second here. Okay, perfect. And what I want you to do is I want you to take the 4 buckles and I want you to do them as tight as you can across the back. If you can get it, it's perfect. If you can get it on the last notch, that's just what you're looking for. Now this jacket has 6 buckles and 6 straps. Now I want to tell you a little bit about this buckling me across the back here. Now all 6 buckles are exactly like this one here in my left hand. They're solid stainless steel. And the way the buckles were made is they took the elements of the metal and they made it in the shape of the metal and they shaped it like the buckle. And what they did is they heated it up to 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now once the buckle was this super white hot, what they did is they dipped it into a liquid to instantly cool it off. They heated it up to 1300 degrees, they cooled it off. They heated it up, they cooled it off. They did this over and over and over again. And what that did is it galvanized the elements of the metal together in a very particular way to make it super strong. That's the reason why a sword can be so skinny and it doesn't break, is it goes through a very similar process. They heat it up, they bang it around a little bit, they cool it off, they do it again and again. So there's nothing I'm going to do that's going to be able to affect the integrity of this buckle. Now, the leather strap, all 6 of them are just like this one right here. They're thick, tough leather. They don't stretch in any way. I can't chew my way through it. Every single place that leather goes into this jacket, you can see that there's leather to reinforce it. There is stitching as thick as dental floss, and there's a metal rivet that goes in the front, drives through the strap, and comes out the back. So there's nothing I can do to the buckles or the straps to affect them once they're in this place. Now, once the jacket is buckled across the back like this, the only way it can get off of my body is if it goes up over the top of my head. That is where strap number 5 comes in. Very gently. You take the strap right there. Now, you will notice there's a buckle at the base of the jacket, 1 notch and 1 notch only. You can count to 1, right? It's this many. Scariest moment of my day. So, once the jacket is buckled in this fashion, there's no way that the jacket can get up over the top of my head. Now, strap number 6, the arms. We take the arms and we tie them into a knot in front of the bottom. Grab the strap for me. Grab the buckle for me. Now, once you loop it through, I need you to pull it to the left as far as you can. Now, walk around my back. Pull hard. Pull hard. Use my shoulder for leverage. Yeah, pinch the skin. That's right. It's just overrated. Got it there. Make sure it looks nice and pretty. Very good. Okay, you can head back to your seat. Nice round of applause for the volunteer. So, you do have to promise to come back and help me if I get stuck. Now, my learning disabilities were actually diagnosed very late in my life. It wasn't until I was between my freshman and sophomore years of college that I was actually diagnosed as being dyslexic. It wasn't until late in my junior year of college that I was diagnosed as having attention deficit disorder. And it wasn't until I was almost 30 years old that I was diagnosed as having social anxiety. Now, that last thing might seem a little bit odd based on the time we spent together this morning, but this right here probably doesn't look like social anxiety. But there's 2 things at play. One is, today it's much better than it once was. And 2, even when it was at its worst, when it was at its most desperate, what I'm doing right here is easy. Because right here, I'm in control. I'm in a circumstance where I'm on a stage that has me lifted up into the air. Every chair in this room is positioned, so I'm the center of attention. We have an awesome sound system, so even if I whisper, you can hear me clearly. There are these lights, so I can light up really brightly. This is a piece of cake. I'm in control. What was hard were those moments when I wasn't in control, where I would walk into a store and need to ask for help. Or I'd walk up to a door that was closed and wouldn't know who was inside. Or I would look down and I would see my phone and it would ring and there would be someone I want to talk to, someone I need to talk to. And I couldn't do it because I didn't know what was going to happen. I'll give you an example. I'd walk into a store and I'd find a pair of pants on the rack that I liked. And I would know that I couldn't find my size. And when you do that, what you do is you just turn to someone at the store and say, hey, I really like these pants. Do you have them in 32, 34? But before I had the opportunity to ask that question, before I had a chance to seek out help, what I saw in my head was this little drama play out where I would go over and I would ask for help, and the person behind the counter would start screaming at me because I was so stupid. My chest would tighten, it would be really, really hard for me to breathe. I would put down whatever I was holding, and I'd walk out of the store. At one point, it was so bad, I couldn't even ask a bus driver to stop the bus. And basically, if my stop was coming up and no one else was getting off, I would have to wait until I got to the next stop, and I would get off and I would walk back. And the way this came to light was one summer, I had two friends in my life, two women who I love, who I absolutely adore, who had the opportunity to do really amazing, powerful things. And in both of these circumstances, you know, they were things they were called to. They felt like a vocation, but they were really big. And because they were really big, they needed help. And in both cases, I could help them.